The world watched, holding its breath. In living rooms, cafes, and city squares across the globe, people gathered around screens, united by a single question. Could peace finally be within reach? Then the news broke, an unexpected ceasefire. The images were immediate and powerful. Hostages returning home, families reunited after months of uncertainty and fear. In a stunning turn of events, President Trump accomplished what many believed was out of reach: a comprehensive ceasefire in the Middle East's most intractable conflict, a region long plagued by violence and failed negotiations. This isn't just another temporary pause. It's a meticulously negotiated deal, the result of weeks of intense diplomacy, halting months of bloodshed and destruction. Families are being reunited, their tearful airport embraces broadcast worldwide, a rare glimmer of hope in a region so often defined by heartbreak. Trump announced the deal from the Rose Garden, declaring a historic victory for peace, his words echoing across continents and stirring cautious optimism. International praise, even from former critics, poured in, lauding the American-led effort. Leaders from Europe, the Middle East, and beyond acknowledged the breakthrough. The deal is being hailed as a testament to Trump's relentless, results-oriented diplomacy, a style that often defied convention, but, in this case, delivered results. For weeks, his envoys shuttled between capitals, engaging in high-stakes, behind-the-scenes negotiations, often working late into the night to bridge divides. The release of dozens of hostages, including Americans, became the emotional centerpiece of the agreement, symbolizing the human cost and reward of diplomacy. Their freedom is a tangible human victory that cuts through the usual political noise, reminding the world of what's truly at stake. The implications are profound. Trump, once seen as disruptive, is now credited with brokering peace that eluded his predecessors for decades, shifting the narrative on his presidency. This Jerusalem triumph is more than a foreign policy win. It could define his legacy, marking a turning point in how history will remember his leadership. It raises questions about modern diplomacy and whether Trump's unorthodox methods, sometimes criticized, often unpredictable, might unlock other frozen conflicts around the world. The world is watching to see if this fragile peace can hold, or if old wounds will reopen. The stakes could not be higher. What does this mean for the future of American influence? Will this moment reshape the U.S. role on the global stage? Or is it a fleeting victory? For now, hope has replaced despair, at least for a moment. The world waits, watching, wondering if this peace will last, and if new possibilities have finally been unlocked. Applause for the ceasefire is loud, echoing across the country and around the world, but it is far from unanimous. The announcement has sparked a wave of emotion, hope for some, skepticism for others. At home, Trump's supporters hail him as a peacemaker, seeing the ceasefire as proof that America first can mean global engagement, not just isolation. They celebrate what they view as a bold move, crediting Trump with delivering on promises and restoring American strength. Images of freed hostages loop on supportive networks, reinforcing a narrative of promises kept and lives saved. Emotional reunions at airports are broadcast nationwide, fueling a sense of triumph and relief among many Americans. Critics, however, question the deal's durability and worry about concessions made behind closed doors. They argue that the details remain murky, and that the long-term consequences could outweigh the immediate gains. Many argue Trump's approach undermines the rules-based order, warning that peace built on strongmen's whims is fragile and unpredictable. Diplomats and analysts caution that bypassing established processes could set a dangerous precedent. Abroad, European allies offer cautious praise, but fear the U.S. is sidelining traditional partners. They worry that America's unilateral moves could weaken alliances and diminish trust among old friends. Some worry this emboldens Trump to further challenge international norms, potentially encouraging other leaders to act outside the established order. The world watches closely, uncertain of what comes next. In the Middle East, reactions are mixed. Some celebrate what they see as a step toward peace, while others view it as a strategic setback or even a betrayal. The streets reflect both jubilation and deep unrest. The deal has shifted the balance of power, leaving adversaries searching for weaknesses and allies recalculating their positions. The region's future feels more uncertain than ever. Applause is loudest from those who benefit, but apprehension lingers in the air. For every cheer, there is a voice of caution, a reminder that peace is rarely simple. The region remains a tinderbox. Is this a true peace, or just a pause before the next storm? Only time will tell if this fragile calm can hold. Euphoria fades as analysts dissect the deal's fine print, a web of compromises. The future status of Hamas is a key point. The agreement may grant it legitimacy, complicating future isolation efforts. Mechanisms for monitoring exist, but history shows such deals often fail. Underlying grievances, territory, sovereignty, security, remain unresolved. Some say the deal sidelines the moderate Palestinian Authority, risking further fragmentation. Critics warn this could empower extremists, undermining hopes for a two-state solution. Proponents argue pragmatism was necessary to save lives and open dialogue. The ceasefire allows humanitarian aid and a respite for civilians. The hope? This calm builds trust for real negotiations and a lasting peace. Trump's diplomatic breakthrough in Jerusalem sent shockwaves far beyond the Middle East, reaching all the way to Ukraine, where a brutal war continues to grind on with no clear end in sight. The world watched as the U.S. administration claimed a rare victory, and now attention shifts to whether similar tactics could work in a very different conflict. The White House is now quietly signaling that it may try to adapt its Middle East playbook, marked by bold moves and unconventional deals, to broker a peace agreement between Kyiv and Moscow, hoping to end the bloodshed in Eastern Europe. The core of this strategy is to project American strength on the world stage, while offering a transactional, deal-driven path to peace, one that leverages U.S. influence and resources to bring both sides to the table. Supporters argue that this bold approach could finally break the diplomatic deadlock that has paralyzed negotiations for years. However, many European allies remain deeply concerned, fearing that Ukraine could be pressured into making painful concessions, including the loss of territory. The real challenge, critics warn, is to ensure that any peace deal truly respects Ukraine's sovereignty and independence, rather than simply delivering a quick political win for Washington or Moscow. The Middle East and Ukraine are fundamentally different arenas. One is shaped by decades of conflict involving non-state actors and shifting alliances, while the other is a direct clash between two nations, one of which is armed with nuclear weapons. Russia's motives in Ukraine run deep, rooted in history, security concerns, and national pride. For President Putin, a simple diplomatic off-ramp may not be enough to change course or end the conflict. Achieving real success will require a nuanced, carefully tailored diplomatic effort, one that understands the unique complexities of this war and the stakes for all sides involved. The ceasefire has upended Iran's regional strategy. A more stable, US-aligned Middle East squeezes Iran's influence and forces Tehran into a reactive posture. The Trump administration claims this is the fruit of maximum pressure plus diplomacy. The message cooperation with the US brings benefits. Obstruction leads to isolation. Some analysts see an opening for broader talks with Iran, but risks remain. A cornered Iran could lash out, escalating tensions elsewhere. The coming months will test whether pressure leads to negotiation or new conflict. As Trump celebrates abroad, domestic turmoil brews. A government shutdown underscores deep partisan divides. Federal agencies close, dysfunction reigns, and the president tries to leverage his foreign triumph to break the deadlock. He frames opponents as obstructionists, but critics say foreign policy skills don't translate to domestic consensus. The shutdown, they argue, is a self-inflicted wound, threatening to overshadow his diplomatic legacy. Economic consequences loom, raising questions about the administration's ability to govern. Can a president be successful abroad if he can't keep his own government open? The split-screen reality dominates headlines. Trump must now turn international credibility into domestic political capital, a tougher challenge than any ceasefire. At the heart of the shutdown is the perennial battle over healthcare. The president's party pushes for sweeping reforms, arguing the current system is broken. Democrats fiercely defend existing laws, calling healthcare a moral right. The ideological chasm makes compromise nearly impossible, turning budget talks into a war over government's role. The shutdown is a symptom of deeper conflict. Immigration, infrastructure, and more are also stalled. Trump's foreign policy win hasn't broken the domestic logjam. Americans care more about healthcare costs than diplomatic triumphs. Until Washington finds common ground, foreign successes will be dimmed by domestic division. As the dust settles, a fragile dawn breaks. The Jerusalem ceasefire is a tangible step away from the abyss, sparking cautious optimism. Trump's supporters see him as the indispensable peacemaker. Critics reassess his foreign policy. The path forward is perilous. Lasting peace requires sustained engagement and U.S. leadership. The ceasefire is just the beginning of a long process. The U.S. must ensure the agreement holds and guard against spoilers. This moment proves diplomacy, backed by strength, can resolve even the toughest conflicts. For now, the guns are silent, hostages are home, and hope, however fragile, has returned.